Teyvat has its own laws. We've analyzed the elements and the forms visions take, but that only leads us to another question. If visions are modeled after archons, where do visions get their power? Of the many things Fontaine taught us, one of the most revealing is that a Gnosis holds power stolen from the 7 dragon sovereigns. They hold the very authority to command the elements of Teyvat. This source is held by the 7 archons, who in turn are duty-bound to portion off small amounts to special citizens. This still doesn't quite add up with all the scattered information we have about Gnosis and visions. However, this can be resolved by looking a bit deeper. Nouvelette informed us that the Hydro-Gnosis was not important for him to keep, and that his full authority was already restored. This must mean that the Gnosis does not, in fact, hold the stolen power. In her final moments, Focalors briefly talks about the Divine Thrones, the seat of an Archon's power. After the Divine Throne of Hydro's destruction due to an excessively powerful execution of its Archon, the Sovereign was fully restored. His full control over Hydro was greater than his nerfed form, of course, but also that of both Focalors and Egeria, the 2 Hydro Archons. This leads me to believe that Celestia has a centralized location that holds all of the elemental power, both naturally gained and robbed from the defeated dragons. The 7 chess-themed Gnosis would, as Venti described, resonate with Celestia itself. The Gnosis is a tool that connects an Archon with Celestia's pool of draconic energy, known as a Divine Throne. In simpler terms, the Archons have Celestia's Wi-Fi password, and it's on a 10G network. As the authority over Hydro immediately returned to Nouvelette, it would seem like this system draws energy straight from the Sovereigns, collects them together into thrones, before sending the power to whichever elemental being holds the matching Gnosis. So, what does this mean for visions? Wasn't this whole conspiracy about explaining how those things work? Well, yes. Venti describes a vision in a very similar way to a Gnosis, only demeaning them as primitive. They are fragments of a god's power given as gifts to those deemed special. I suspect they work the same way as a Gnosis, only much weaker. They could be resonating with Celestia, or in simpler terms, Vision Wielders have Celestia's guest Wi-Fi password, and it's only a 5G network. They could also be resonating with the Archon, who is the middleman, or in simpler terms, they mooch off their god's streaming subscription. Wait. But why do people get visions at all? And how do Archons gift other Archons elements?